Okay, so we want to set up a file for laser cutting. So here we have Adobe Illustrator. Now, if we open a new document, give it a name. Now, a couple of things that we just need to be aware of in the opening screen. We want to dictate the size of our piece. Now, the maximum that the laser cutter can accommodate is 600 wide by 450 high. Now you can, if you have a specific piece of material in mind, you can input that here, but quite generally when I'm doing general work, I work to the laser cutter's dimensions. So that's width 600 and height 450. Okay, make sure the orientation is correct. The other thing we have to make sure of is the RGB setting, because the laser cutter works on pure RGB colors. So make sure you're on RGB. Click OK. So that is the bed of our laser cutter. Always make sure you work the top left hand side for the laser cutter. That is where it works most accurately. Okay, so let's just do some basic drawing here. Let's pick a rectangle tool. Let's draw a rectangle. Now let's say we want to cut that rectangle out. Won't cut at the moment. What we need to ensure is the stroke weight. One of the most important things. For it to cut, we need 0.01 weight. Okay, so it thins it out. What we also want to do is ensure that it is a pure red, RGB red for the outline. It's this one here. And we want no fill. That line there, that rectangle, is now ready to cut out. We could send that to the laser cutter and that would cut it out. Okay. Now, what else do we want to do? Let's say we want to etch a shape. So we don't want to cut all the way through. We just want to etch, say, 1 millimeter into the material. So let's take this ellipse. Now, if we go back up to this box here, we have a different setup that we want to produce. We want to fill this. We want to fill this in black, and we want to make sure there's no outline for that. Now, a solid black like that will etch. Okay, so that essentially is it. This shape will now etch and that will cut out. We want to make sure we don't have a thin red outline. If you wanted to cut this out, etch it and then cut it out, not sure why you would, but 0.01 in red, that would now cut out that etched ellipse. Okay, if you want to do some text, if you want to etch some text, it's the same principles. If you just did a simple text in black, no outline, pure black, that would be etched. If you wanted to cut this text out, you would use the same principle of having the red, having no fill on the inside, and again making sure you've got 0.01 for the outline. That text would now cut out on the laser cutter. Okay. If you want to vector etch, which is where the laser cutter follows the line instead of a raster in it from left to right, we use a different color, same line weight, 0.01, but we will use a pure RGB blue. Okay. So that line there can now be vector etched. Those are the basics of laser cutting. Here's a little test that I tend to use on any kind of new material. So with this little sample, the box would be cut out. The laser would go all the way through. The red lettering of cut, CUT, that would be cut through. The blue bounding box there will be vector etched, so the laser would follow that line. And the black blocked lettering etch would be raster etched. The laser would fire from left to right, etching it down. Okay, so once you've done your file, we'll go to save. Now you can save it as an Adobe Illustrator file, or you can save it as a PDF. I set up the laser so it imports PDFs, so that's the preferable format to use. Remember, once you saved it to PDF, then you can't alter it once it's gone off to laser cut, so make sure everything's in the right place. Save it, and then you're ready to go. Just click Save PDF. Don't need to change any of these settings. And you've got a laser cutter file ready to be cut.